You are already whole. There is nothing that you need to fix. You are perfect in any given moment. Does it even matter what really happened? Because that was a past story. How do you then show up now? What do you enjoy about your workplace currently? What do you enjoy about your relationships currently? What do you enjoy about your existing environment currently? And then what would you change?
You're saying we don't have to relive all of our childhood, adolescent,
No,
past
fuck
traumas?
right.
You don't have to feel it again? Welcome back, everybody, to the Vibe Higher with Gigi podcast. Today we have a very special guest, Kirsty Tate. I had the honor of meeting her a few weeks ago during the I'm Creation retreat that I attended, and she was the coordinator, the right-hand woman of the creator of the I Am Creation retreat, and she just seems like she was doing it all at the time. And at first, like I told her in a WhatsApp message, at first we exchanged messages on WhatsApp, and I was like, oh, this is like a doer kind of woman, maybe like a little bit of a type A personality, and I was a little held back a little bit. But the second I met Kirsty, my nervous system just calmed down. She's very heart-centered and intelligent and just warm and kind and also a doer. So welcome, Kirsty, to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Gigi. I'm excited to delve into, I don't even know what yet, but I'm excited for it either way.
Awesome. Yeah, just to start, because this was a question that another podcast that I listened to started today. It's like, what excites you the most in the world today, and what are you looking forward to the most in your life in general, in the present moment?
Honestly, just like experiencing life. I've spent so long just overthinking or not being in the present moment. And for me, like experiencing everything, experiencing the weather, experiencing a cup of tea, experiencing my friends, experiencing new connections, new places, new things. I have such a zest for life at the moment that I am just enjoying it all, even if it's just something that most people might find mundane, as such as having a cup of tea or walking out in the freezing cold in the UK, as you can probably tell at the moment. And so for me, that's what I'm personally most excited about. For the world, I really feel a shift in the way people are doing things, from both higher level to grassroots level of the way people are showing up in schools. For instance, 9D Breathwork, a breathwork organization, has had the go ahead to implement in schools across the UK, which is incredible. And I feel that people are really learning the old ways of connection, of community, of rather than just having this 9 to 5 rat race lifestyle. So yeah, that's the two things that I'm most excited about.
Yeah, that is exciting. Just not to outdate myself, like I remember the 80s, and I remember it was so, yeah, like it's just like using the mind to go forward. But there's definitely a shift nowadays to go to the heart-centeredness, and I feel that too.
Yeah.
Are you able to, can you talk to us about your past so you worked in the corporate environment for a few years, I think, and then did you have a transition where you wanted to work for yourself as an entrepreneur in a more kind of heart-centered way or environment?
So I was kind of never in a corporate environment, but it was more like a startup-y corporate world. I was in recruitment for a few years in London and then in Newcastle. And then I set up my own recruitment company. And honestly, it wasn't necessarily a heart-centered way of things. It's just I wanted to do it my way. And I'm not very good with having a boss. I'm that type of person that just doesn't listen or doesn't understand being in environments where I can't have an idea or I can't bring something to the table. And now, don't get me wrong, not all bosses are like that. Just the bosses that I've had in the past weren't really people's ideas. Ideas people, sorry. And so I couldn't bring anything, and I didn't feel like I could bring my value or bring something that could help grow. Even though I didn't stop giving ideas, they were just never really kind of reciprocated. So, depending who you ask, whether I got fired or I quit, it was on my last job that I worked for back in 2017, I think now. Um, the reason that I quit is because I actually said that I could do it bigger and better by myself. In a few different choice words. And then my friend turned around to me, and I actually had no intention of doing it. I was just in a bit of a headspace, and my friend turned around to me and he was like, well, why don't you? Why don't you actually just set up your own company? And in the end, it was kind of like, okay, why not? How hard could it be? So I ended up setting my own recruitment company. It was running for just over 5 years. And I loved it. I loved it. We were in a really good place actually when I shut it down. But what I had realized is through the process that my own journey hadn't evolved necessarily with the companies, and I was in not a great headspace. I'd built the company from not a great headspace, and I wanted to learn more about me. Someone actually said to me once, like, you really need to improve on your emotional intelligence, and that set me off on a path of self-discovery and what that actually meant. And from there, I decided to shut down my company and move more into kind of like the personal development mindset. And I just got obsessed with learning, and I love learning. And when I started on that journey, like from psychology, I have a psychology degree, so that has always interested me. But from neuroplasticity, neuroscience, to the body, to the mind, to how that shows up in companies, to how that shows up in family dynamics. So I went on a really quick growth journey after that. That was a long answer to your question.
Mm. I think a lot of people are in that predicament where they're trying to make a living, but they're also not finding like the the oomph, the light within themselves to be their own selves whilst living in this world where you need to make money. Like how do you in your mind could you like meld the two together, like finding your dharma, your passion, and
One, I don't think you need to quit your job to do it. I think there's a lot of people who like, yeah, focus on this, do this, start the side hustle, quit your job. I disagree with that because there is an element of financial security that allows you to find out more about yourself, and looking at your current reality and where you're at is a really big indicator to actually who you are. So for me,
mm,
a big part of it was not having that expression, not having that feeling of feeling valued. Those are two values for me that are important. So when you start to self-reflect, it's looking at, okay, having a voice. How do you then have a voice within your existing company? Now, there might be the way that you might not actually be able to have that, but you'll never know unless you try. So it's about learning through yourself first, in my opinion, to see where you're at, take stock of where you're at. Like, what do you enjoy about your workplace currently? What do you enjoy about your relationships currently? What do you enjoy about your existing environment currently? And then what would you change? Because most people kind of focus on the negative first, and then that starts you off on a back foot because you're just looking at the negatives. You're not looking at the necessarily what you're actually enjoying Like, what is the good? And this is where people end up spiraling because they start focusing on the negatives, and then it's just a snowball effect. The same with positive things as well. And it doesn't mean stay where you are if things are bad, but it's about learning how to receive in the moment what is right for you and what you have the ability to change. And then if there isn't something you have the ability to change, then look elsewhere.
I like that. Like taking account of like the good things that you have in the moment, and like where you are in the moment is really a predicament. Like it's really shows like where you're at, pretty much, for lack of a better way of putting it. And could you tell me a little bit about how you got into the I am creation world? Because I know these are big projects, and you have like a huge you had like huge input in like organizing it all. And yeah, I'm just curious to know like how you guys all put it together, because it's a big endeavor and just seems like just a few people were involved, namely you.
Yeah, so I was lucky enough to win the I Am Creation retreat in November 24. So I was the winner of the scholarship, and I was currently in Panama at the time. And I knew I had to be in Bali by November. Like it was so clear to me I had to be in Bali by November since January of 2024. So much so that I sold all of my stuff. I literally broke up with my boyfriend. I let go of my apartment, and I was like, I have to be in Bali. And then I ended up coming back to the UK because I was going to weddings and things like that. And that was always the plan. And then the idea was to slowly make my way over to Bali. And then I got two very clear signs that I needed to be back in Panama. And I had literally left 6 weeks prior and left all of my stuff, left my boyfriend, left my apartment, left my stuff, left my friends, had a huge leaving party. And I was like, what? I can't go back to Panama. It was like so clear that I had to go back to Panama. And I was like, I didn't tell any of my friends. I was embarrassed. I was like, maybe I made the wrong choice. And then from there, I was like, no, Bali was still calling. And I'd seen the retreat. Me and Alona still don't know how, because she never advertised in Panama, and I'd seen it in Panama. And actually the day
Mm,
before I paid for a Mind Valley course, for about 3.5 grand. And I just didn't want to pay 8, 9 grand within 24 hours for personal development. And, so I kind of was messaging, and I was like, oh, it's not the right time. And then she messaged me about the competition. And as soon as she messaged me that, I knew I'd won. And I knew I'd won. And so much so, I packed my suitcase and I was like, I'm going. And yeah, I found out that I'd won kind of 24 hours later, and was on a plane the day after, because the retreat started in 3 days. So it was 37 hours or something crazy from Panama to Bali. And then off the back of that, I was just like, okay, these people get it. And I hadn't really met people that were embodied in what they were talking about. Like I'd met some people, but just not
mm,
really as like a container like that. So I wanted to learn more. And Alona was speaking at the Gladiator Summit in Dubai, and no one invited me. I was just like, I'm coming. I'm following you there. And a few people went from the retreat. I think there was 5 or 6 of us that went to Dubai. And I just, from there, we had both seen that we were going to put on a summit. And she is a doer. She would start actioning things straight away. So it was like we were having these meetings in Dubai, and we were like, okay, it's going to be in Dubai. And then from there, we just became good friends. And I helped out with the February online summit that she decided to put on in 10 days. And then she asked me back to come back and be support for the March retreat. And then from the back of the March retreat, the summit just kind of happened, and happened very quickly. And it was in 4 months that we managed to put it on. And yeah, it was an incredible journey. And yeah, it was working with Alona is beautiful to see someone that actually gets things done and does it
mm.
instant. Like her thing is if she has an idea, she will put one action to that straight away, regardless of
Mm,
whether it's sending a text. It doesn't have to be a big action, but she will always take one action to whatever that idea is supposed to be. And then the universe just opens up in such a beautiful way. And it's really been an incredible year of learning how it can be done, how quickly things can be done, and how just that absolute sheer faith in its
mm,
will
wow.
always override everything else.
That's the thing. Like it's like no, okay, getting the downloads, the messages, and then just taking the action like right away and not like hesitating, not going in the mind. That's when like the stalling happens. And then, so it's really just taking action the second the, like the thought comes up, right? And then you realize that there's not much time. There's so much to do if you go along that journey of just like taking action as soon as you have a, like a,
Yeah, and that's the thing, and this is where a lot of people's ideas, downloads, whatever you want to call them, don't come into fruition because they're just ideas, and you are given an idea, it is meant for you, but at the same time, if you don't do anything with it, someone else will. How many times have people thought of a whole business idea and then a month later, they see someone else has done it. Like it might just even be a random ad on Instagram, and you're like, I had that idea a month ago. And yeah, but did you do anything towards it?
I was listening to Greg Braden on a podcast the other day, and he was saying, like, once you get that idea, the idea has come into this galactical sphere. And even if you don't take action, it has pierced itself into the stratosphere of, and then, so if a month later, if you see the same idea that you didn't take action on, it's just because these ideas are flowing through people. And if they come to you and you don't take action, it's gonna end up somewhere else. And yeah, I'm coming to
Exactly.
fruition that way.
There's an amazing book. I actually think it's called The Big Idea. It's by Elizabeth someone, I can't remember. And she says exactly that. Like these have a time limit on them because they are supposed to materialize and they are there to be into reality. But that might not be for you if you're not going to take action on it. And this is where people who do things are always more aligned to their goals because they try it out and it might work, but they tried. And this is why some people get really annoyed that there's people like who they class as not that smart or not that intellectual and they're rich and they're doing things because they understand that the doing is in it. Like you can sit and you can meditate and you can bring it in and it's like, oh, I'm gonna receive $1 million, I'm gonna receive $1 million. Okay, cool. Well, if you want to do it that quickly, probably you should buy a lottery ticket. If you don't want to put it for a business and you just want to receive $1 million, but will you buy a lottery ticket? Do you even believe in it that much? Will you take action to actually go and make that happen? Or do you just want to sit and pretend that that $1 million is there? Great. I mean, you can pretend as much as you want and you can see the reality as much as you want, but without one step of action, or it might not even be that. It might be you received an inheritance, but you still have to answer the phone to that call to receive the inheritance. Whatever it is, there's always an action that needs to be taken.
Right. And it's not even like hesitating towards that action. It's like getting the message and doing it. And that opens more doors, like
Yeah.
to other actions and then more openings. And then you act on the opening. And it's just a constant, like little steps towards a bigger goal. Right.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how these things collapse into your reality and time collapses. Like every single person, even at points, me, and were like putting on a summit in 4 months is crazy. Like absolutely insane. It's not possible. But every single day there was an action. Every single day there was an action to making it happen. Now, our aim was to have 3,000 people in the room, and that was a big aim. And we knew that was a big aim, but why not? Like, why not? We ended up having just shy of 700 people, but still, we did it in 4 months. It happened. It it had like such a reach beyond that room. We had 36, I think, in the end, speakers fly from all over the world, from LA, from Australia, from Europe, from Singapore to Bali to speak. But that would not have happened if there wasn't like an action. And it, don't get me wrong, the actions weren't always immediate. Sometimes they were delayed, and but they still happened.
Mm. And you didn't do it alone. Like you speak to other people, you connect with other people. You have Alona, like, and other like people make it happen through other people, and then everybody like comes together in this
Yeah, like
event.
literally, I was stood next to a guy at a Joe Dispenza retreat who is a guy, Ryan Zofe, who is an incredible speaker. And I was actually already speaking to his team about coming to speak. And then he introduced me to Nick Santanastasio, who was one of the speakers for us. And like all of these synchronicities just started happening. And Alona would literally go to like random place and then meet someone incredible who was the perfect person to help us with a part of it, such as the marketing or whatever it was. And yeah, and we weren't always like, we weren't in the same country, we weren't in Bali, we were all over the world, we were traveling all over the world. So it wasn't even like these things were just happening to us because we were there. I was in LA and then DC and then Panama and the UK, and Alona was in Barcelona and Ibiza and Portugal and Mexico and Peru and
Um,
Costa Rica and Ukraine, like, and
it's a
then
lot of
back to
places.
Bali. So like, yeah, but all of these synchronicities were happening throughout the world. It wasn't just a because we were in Bali and we were meeting these certain people. Now, don't get me wrong, that happened when we both went back, but it was because the idea was already out there, and Alona
Mm,
immediately took action every single time. And that is how she gets things done. And honestly, a huge lesson for me, because I am not that person. Like, I'm a delayed action taker, and I do take action, and I take more action than a lot of people, but sometimes it takes me a while to put that action into place.
mm. Right. But it's like, it's also having that faith. Like, once you have that faith, the knowing that something is available and could happen, then yeah, you just have to say yes to everything and ask, right?
Yeah, and I
Wow.
think you have to say yes before you even get to that faith, because you have to have the belief before the knowing, and the belief is, and even before the belief, like you just say yes and see what happens. The worst case is it doesn't happen, but you tried, and this is where a lot of people's fear overrides them, and it's like I had a friend and he would not ask for a promotion, and I'm like, why not? And he's just like, well, someone has to be promoted, or someone basically has to leave or die, which is so much that I used to see when I used to work in recruitment. And I was like, no, that doesn't have to be the case. Get on the radar now. Okay, maybe there isn't a promotion available, but let people know that you're available for it, that you want it, and ask them what steps you need to take to get that promotion. When I was in recruitment, one statistic that used to baffle me was people would rather leave their organization than and go and have a whole new job than ask for a promotion.
Mm.
And most people don't even understand that. And most companies don't understand that. And I used to try and educate companies on this, because it's so much better for an employee to stay within a business. They understand the business, they understand the culture, it's cheaper because you don't have to pay recruitment fees, but yet people won't have the hard conversations because of some fear that probably isn't even true.
It's the fear of rejection. Like, that's a huge one, right? It's the fear of someone saying no. And if we get comfortable with people saying no, or just asking and or trying to like just, if the fear is there, doing it anyways, like the fuck it
Yeah,
challenge.
and it's something I I struggle to understand sometimes because I'm always like, but if you don't ask, you don't get. Like literally, you don't ask, you don't get. People don't necessarily know you want a promotion. I know that sounds stupid because everyone thinks that you should go through the
Live in my
company.
mind.
Yeah, but if it's not there, people aren't aware. And the thing is, what I don't understand, this is one doesn't make any sense in my brain. If you keep with the promotion, if you ask for a promotion and you don't get it, you're in no worse off scenario than you are in the current moment. Like
Mm.
there's no difference, absolutely no difference. So why not?
And if they say no, then you know that you have the option of trying to find another job with a better salary or a better position, but at least you
Yeah.
made that step to
Also,
see
it
your
might not even
choices.
be that. They literally might not be a budget, or there might not be the right position, or maybe they're thinking about you for something else. Like I had a friend who went for a promotion. She was gutted she didn't get it, and she deserved the promotion. And the feedback was, this is a promotion, yes, but I think you in 3 months will be ready for an even bigger promotion. And I know that there is a position coming up and I would rather that you went for that. And that was the feedback. And she really questioned to why she didn't get it. So she received that feedback. But how many times do people just accept the immediate answer?
And they also don't know if they don't ask. You don't know the
Exactly.
outcome. Hmm. During the retreat, you gave a workshop, and it was entitled "The Truth versus the Truth." Can you tell us a little bit about that?
The
I
truth
really
versus.
enjoyed it.
Thank you. What did you feel like it meant for you?
Well, I asked a pretty pertinent question at the time. There was an issue with a chair, and I was in I was in the head of another person who got angry in the moment because I wanted that chair in a car, and I was in my people pleasing mode. I was like, oh, I don't like, I heard her. I was so in my head about it when you were giving that workshop. So what you said, I don't remember what you said, but it helped. It just helped kind of like sharing, but you kept on telling me like, don't get into the other person's story. Keep it within yourself. Like, what does it mean? What does it mean to yourself? What does the scenario mean to yourself is what I got out of it, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And that's the thing. And what a lot of people don't do is see how they're feeling in any moment. And this is the key to self-mastery and your happiness is, okay, what am I feeling? Like, how am I experiencing this moment? And can you allow yourself to believe that everything is working out for you? So even if it doesn't feel like it is in the moment, can you allow yourself that it's to experience your growth? So one that I keep hearing is, I wish I followed my intuition. You did. Like you literally did. And you cannot not have followed your intuition in that moment because that was what was available to you. And you needed to go through the lesson to strengthen that relationship with yourself. Now, go on.
Yeah, I was in the moment, it was for my survival. And I knew it was going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. But then the other person had their story. But then I got in my head about the stories that I made up about her, about me. I'm just like, I just want that seat. It's comfortable. Yeah. So, but in that moment, I was like on my side because I just needed that seat. Anyway.
Yeah, but you should always be on your side. This is the whole point. You should always be on your side. You should be learning through every moment. Like if you're listening to a podcast, if you're reading a book, if you're watching the television, whatever it is, if you're talking to a friend, how is that feeling for you? How are you receiving that information? Are you being present with yourself? Because if you're being present with yourself, then you're allowing yourself to be present with the other person. You're allowing yourself to be present with the podcast. Like, what is the point of listening to the podcast if you are not listening for some reason to learn something or to feel something? So there's and that could just be escaping into the TV or a Netflix series. It doesn't have to be deep all of the time, but it's about understanding why you're doing things and why that's happening for you and why you're feeling what you're feeling. How many times do we get into the story and it's okay, I wanted this, I'm allowing myself to have this. And it really doesn't matter about the other person, really, because their reaction is nothing to do with you. How they react to something is nothing to do with you. And
Mhm.
this is where the dynamics of people and people pleasing and relationships gets very confusing sometimes. If you're in a relationship and you're in an argument, the chances are neither of you are aware of what you're even arguing about. You just want to be right or you just want to be heard. And that is where relationships break down, is because it's such a need for me in that moment, and you can't articulate that to the other person, and then it just becomes two people going against each other rather than understanding what is coming up for me. Oh, okay, I just want to be heard. Okay, what does that actually mean? It doesn't mean being
Mhm.
screamed at. It doesn't mean being ignored. It doesn't mean, okay, let's go deeper for that. Why is that so important to you in this moment?
And like
And then,
sharing that to the other
yeah,
person. Like, I just want to be heard. This is what I need right now from you, from the world, from the universe.
but before you even get to that stage, you need to understand it yourself. You need to allow yourself to even go there, because if you try and explain to another person who is also in that same state, then it's still not going to be heard, and then you're going to get yourself in more of a vortex of not being heard. So it's about just pausing. How is this feeling for me? Why am I feeling like this? Where is this showing up in myself? Where has this pattern showed up before? Because if something upsets you, it's never actually what's happening in the moment. Usually it's comes from a prior set of preconditioned behaviors, or something that happened in childhood, or some pattern that is still playing itself out. And where people keep getting themselves in loops is not learning or taking the time to understand truly who they are, what they want, and how they then show up in the world.
Because a lot of the time we're so overwhelmed by the emotions that came from the stories and the unhealed patterns. Like, we're just overwhelmed by it, so we don't know. Yeah, we don't know what we're feeling, what we need. So it's sitting down and breathing and tapping into that, right?
Exactly. And the thing is, like, memory isn't even memory. It's your perception of the memory. The likelihood of you actually remembering the memory is very minimal. And so that also becomes a story and it becomes a charge. So, however you are in that moment is not even true to how it was in the prior moment, because your memory is biased, isn't the right word, but it's the word that's coming towards that moment, that prior moment. And I think it's around like 80% of that memory isn't even true to how it actually played out. And memories are all based on your own preconception, your own experiences, your own lifestyle, your own choices, your own mind, your own body, and your own social experiences. So they can only be yours. So even if someone else is in your memory and that was a charge in the time and they upset you in the time, that experience is not the same experience to how you experienced it.
Hmm. That's deep. Because we only have the present moment, right? Like the here and the now. So it's yeah, so it's tapping into like what our body is feeling, what it needs, and the things in our minds in relation to that memory is a like you said, is a creation, it's a story, it's maybe like 20% of the memory is maybe 20% of what really happened.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And does it even matter what really happened? Because that was a past story. How do you then show up now? How do you then show up in this moment? And how can you change that story? Because we as humans get obsessed with stories. We are like, just love a story. We love the hero's
We
journey.
love
We
we're
love
we're
a story.
storytelling people.
Love like having the platform and oh, look at me, this happened to me. Oh my God. And it's bullshit. It's bullshit. Like, there is no need for the story. You don't even need to understand the story. You don't even need to go back to the story. And so many people in self-development will tell you that you have to, but you really don't. You just need to learn how it's showing up for you in this moment. How does it affect you in this moment? How can you allow yourself more love and joy in this moment? Can you release the story to actually experience the moment for what it is? Can you show up to your partner in a loving way, regardless of how you're feeling? That's where the that's where you can really start to learn self-mastery, your relationships improve, and you really realize it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
So it makes it easier to switch your mood to be like, okay, well, that doesn't matter. So
Yeah.
why not be happy and calm and ecstatic or blissful or just neutral?
Yeah, and before all these spiritual people start coming at me with spiritual bypassing and you need to feel the feelings, it's bullshit. There is no such thing as bypassing because you cannot bypass something you were unaware of. And the exact experiences that you're going through are the exact experiences that you need for that moment. So, all of these people that give you all of these bullshit phrases and that you need to do it this way and this is the right way, it's all a load of rubbish. You need to work it out for yourself and you need to learn how to read yourself. This is where the truth versus the truth comes in because two things can be true at the same time. And it's about learning what's true for you. How am I showing up in this moment? Why am I showing up like this in this moment? How can I change this? How can I feel better? Okay. There is a lot of grief coming up. Okay, why is this coming up? Oh, I never actually really allowed myself to feel it. Okay, so let's feel it. And then it's like, okay, did you really need to feel that in this moment? Yes, no, whatever it is. It's self-discovery is the biggest skill that we all need to learn and we all choose to avoid for some reason or other.
It's knowing more about ourselves, like
Yes.
discovering who we are, what triggers us, what makes us happy, what makes us sad. Yeah. Hmm.
It's
Felt good.
yes, yes, and also go beyond that. Like, why is this true for me? Because triggers are triggers, but they don't need to necessarily be true. It's just something that's a preset of conditioned behaviors from whatever scenario from before. So, how do you want to show up? Like, how do you want to be to the world? If family is a big value for you, are you spending time with your family? Like, I know that sounds silly, but so many people say, oh, family is my biggest value, and they see their parents once a year, or they're working all the time and they don't get to see their kids. It's about being so radically honest with yourself in the moment and being okay with that honesty.
Yeah. But then like what if like a lot of fear comes up in relation to, yeah, stuff the way people might have like yeah, treated you in the past, right? there's a lot of feelings that come up, like fear
Okay.
being one of them.
So if the fear is coming up, why is it coming up? Like, what is it actually a
Just
scary moment? Like, is someone not doing what you want them to do in that moment, is that actually terrifying? No. Like,
mm,
are you going to die? No, probably not. No, I would say 99.5% of the time, you are not going to die. So, why is the fear there? Like,
it might
why?
like trigger like an unhealed wound, like a big wounds
Also, why
that
do you still, why you can heal from joy? And this is what so many people don't understand, and especially spiritual people are the worst for this. They're like, oh
we
my God,
love
I
the
need to
spiritual
heal
people.
all of the trauma and blah, blah.
Oh,
No, you don't. You can heal from joy. There's there's a quote actually I saw from Eckhart Tolle yesterday that I reposted, and it's suffering is necessary until you realize that it's unnecessary. And when you can understand that quote, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to deal with all this trauma. You don't have to delve into the past and understand what happened to you when you were 5. You get the choice of experiencing the joy in the now, and you get to choose joy in any moment. There are two doors always, and one door people avoid, and it is the happiness door, and it is the joy door, and it is the being grateful for the moment as it is.
so you're saying we don't have to relive all of our childhood, adolescent, like
You've done
past
that,
traumas?
right?
You don't have
Like,
to
you've already
feel
been
it
through
again?
it. You've already done it. You've already gone through it. Why do you need to go through it again? Learn how that, yes, okay, it's still going to show up in some regards, but the more that you become aware of it and the more that you understand, okay, this is a past set of behaviors. How do I change this? Okay, I'm in a room full of people and I'm not being present with them because this is being really like intense for me. Okay, you can sit with that now and you can choose to go in and deal with that. Deal with it. It's a strong word. You can choose to go back there and understand, or maybe you could believe that the awareness is enough, that the awareness of what is coming up is the exact medicine that you need
Mm,
to heal that trauma. And again, heal is a word that's used a lot in the personal development world and the spiritual world. You are already whole. There is nothing that you need to fix. You are perfect in any given moment. How can you not be? Because the exact set of experiences that you went through are the exact set of experiences that got you to this moment right
mm.
now.
That's like that like alleviates us from a lot of like work that we need to do or spiritual and internal work that we need to do. Just we're
It's
just
like the work is understanding that you can experience joy, you can be happy, you get to choose, you get to show up to life and enjoy it and not feel guilty about it.
I love it. So a lot of things to a lot of things to think of. Giving us a lot of things to think of. Thank you. um, could you tell us a little bit about your confidence and connection endeavor?
Was something that just came to me one day and I really liked the name and it happened to be available and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then as I start to kind of like build that out, I really believe in this relationship with yourself affects everything else out in the world, whether that is in business, whether that is in relationships, friendships. So it's about learning how to connect with that part of you and everything that we've just discussed. Okay, how do I start to understand myself? How do I start to really know who I am and how I show up in the world and why I'm showing up like that? And how then can I improve my relationship with myself to improve my business, to improve my relationships at home, to improve my relationships with my children, my friends, my dog, whoever it may be? Because when you can really have the confidence of that connection with yourself, and it doesn't matter whether you're spiritual, spirituality is the same as entrepreneurship, it's the same as religion, it's the same as just not believing in any of that. It's
It's
about
like another
how,
category.
yeah, it's another label. It's how do I learn how to understand myself so that I can really build what I want to build, in any regard, whether that is a project, as I said, relationship. So confidence and connection is a designed to help people understand themselves so that they can then grow their business if they're an entrepreneur, or they can grow their own relationships externally to themselves. Because when you truly have a connection to yourself, you realize that everything around you is a mirror of who you are. So if you want more love and kindness, then you need to allow yourself to experience that, and you also need to allow yourself to give that and receive that. And if you want a bigger business and you want more customers, or maybe different type of employees, okay, how are you showing up to yourself? How do you connect to yourself? Because they are going to be the type of people that you maybe attract. And if you are a perfectionist like me, which I didn't even know I was, and obsessed with the smaller details, then you're either going to attract people like that, or you're going to attract people that are the opposite, to show you that maybe you have to do it all by yourself. Maybe that's a belief that you have to do it all by yourself. So you're going to attract the opposite to show you the exact belief that you have. So it's about understanding our belief systems and understanding how we are currently showing up, and how we can evolve to have that strength in the connection with ourselves, so that we then have the confidence to do it elsewhere.
So knowing more about ourselves could help us in all aspects of our lives, religion,
Every
I
single
mean,
thing.
work, work, uh, personal life. Yeah. Awesome.
This is the beautiful gift that I was given when I built my business. Like, I had a successful company by a lot of people's standards. It wasn't successful by mine, but we were a stable mid six-figure company. I had like 4 or 5 employees. Like, we were a boutique little agency. Um, but I could see the patterns that I had bought in, and I could see how I'd built it on a lack mindset, and I could see how I'd built it on struggle. And you don't necessarily have to do that. You don't have to build a company on struggle. That doesn't mean there's not going to be struggles. Like, but it's about the better mastery we have over our own minds, over our own emotional intelligence, over our own psychological way we show up in the world. We can strengthen every single relationship that we have.
And how we regulate our nervous system, like the calmer, the cooler we are, the more we can become better leaders. And there's all these biohacks out there to help us with our nervous system. But yeah, it's like keeping it cool, calm, collected, and then we get things done.
Yeah, and there are so many tools available, and it's incredible. And they're tools, and you need to work out what's right for you. Some people, it is breath work. Some people, it's yoga. Some people, it's having a mentor. Some people, it's ayahuasca. Whatever it is, it's about understanding what's right for you, because they're all right, but they're not all right for everyone. So how do you learn? How do you learn about yourself? How do you allow yourself to experience yourself? So again, it's the truth versus the truth. Everything can be right, but what's right for you? And do you allow yourself time to work that out, or do you just go to the next yoga class? I hate yoga. We used to do puppy yoga in Panama. I set up puppy yoga. I was the founder of puppy
The
yoga.
doer.
Hate yoga. And my friend was the yoga teacher, Laura. She's an incredible yoga teacher. And I actually like doing yoga with her. But I do not like yoga. And these puppies absolutely triggered the life out of me. Because I
They were
hadn't
your
moved my
biggest
body,
teachers.
but I didn't understand these releases that I was having. And I'm sitting there at the back of the class trying not to literally kick a puppy because I was so angry in that moment. And
You can't kick a puppy.
have a class? No, and you have a class full of 30 people, and the puppies are so cute. They're so cute. And Laura's amazing. And Irinovi, the girl that I also ran the puppy yoga with, is also incredible. But I hated being there because I wasn't serving anyone because I was angry all the time and I just didn't want to be there. So at the end, I was like, okay, I really need to deal with this. Like, if I'm going to run puppy yoga, I can't be there being angry. But if I didn't take the time to kind of like go through myself and be like, okay, what is this? Why is this like showing up in the way that it is? And it's again, I won't go to yoga unless someone really makes me. And I love stretching, but I don't like the very masculine yoga where you have to do this whatever. It doesn't make any
Right.
sense. Um,
So it's
so
like knowing more about yourself and knowing like there's so
yeah,
many tools out there, right? What's best
yeah, it
for
doesn't mean
you.
yoga's bad. It doesn't. Yoga's amazing. Yoga is one of the oldest practices to release what you don't know that you're holding. But I don't have to do yoga. Like
No, you don't have to
I
do
don't have
yoga.
to do yoga
You
because
don't have
it's
to do yoga.
spiritual and it's like I just don't enjoy it, so I'm not going to do it.
Okay, we're gonna leave the audience with this. You don't have to do yoga, okay? You could.
No,
You could if you
exactly.
want to.
Don't have to. You don't have to do anything. You are already perfect. And if you allow yourself to be exactly who you are in the moment, that's amazing.
Mm. And people, yeah, are craving authenticity. I mean, just in general, right? With
And
the
what most people don't understand is authenticity is actually a higher vibration than love. And so many people seek out the love and seek out the abundance and the joy. But authenticity is the highest vibration on the scale. I can't remember the guy's name. And it is the highest vibration that we can actually emanate. So the more that you can work out who you actually are and what you like and what you don't like and be truthful to yourself in that moment, that is the best way you can serve yourself and serve those around you.
yeah, authenticity is, and then that's the way that you could calm your nervous system because you're not trying to be someone else because everybody else is taken. So might as
Okay.
well be yourself. Thank you very much, Kirsty. Thank you very much for being on the High Vibe Higher with Gigi podcast. We're gonna put your socials down in the description for people to contact you. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Yeah.
Thank you for having me, Gigi.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. See you guys in the next episode. Bye.